Hello, welcome to my channel Teach Me. This is Anthony. I'll be showing you basics of Excel. Before that, don't forget to share, like, subscribe and click on the bell button. Okay, so once you have your Excel open, you should have an account with Microsoft or you have an older version of Excel. So once you have it open, you will see this page. So these are actually either you could open up a blank book or you could open up different templates. So these are different pre-created templates for you. So let's work with the blank one for now. Okay, so when you open up a blank one, this is what you will see, right? So over here, these are pretty much menus. So these are called ribbon menus. Ribbon menus meaning not like your programs, when you click on it you will see a drop down. So this one, when you click on it, and you will see all the buttons over here, right? You can actually see it. So these are the menus actually. So there's a home menu and so on and so forth. So these are columns and these are rows, right? So in columns and rows, these are called cells. So this is where you enter things here, right? And so let's start with one entry. So let's say date, and I'm gonna put I could click on the next one and say description. I'm creating a title. So first row I want to create a title. Okay, once you type in, you could hit enter, that will go to the next line, or hit tab, that will go to next cell. Okay, that's a quantity, and next one I could say price, total. Okay, let's say I created some like one title here. Okay, so in here, as you can see, description is like it's not showing everything. How do I show that, right? So when you move your mouse over here, see the way it's changing, like a plus symbol with the two arrows. If you move over here, plus symbol with the two arrows, right? So what you want to do is you could either double click will give you automatic adjustment, or you could just click and drag for the width that you want, right? See, I could click and drag. If I click on double click, it will just narrow it down to that. But when you have something bigger, then you have to adjust again. So I could just do that, right? So once you have it here, let's say I want to bold this and center this. So you can click on it, hold on to your mouse and drag it. So this is how we select it. So if I drag it horizontally, I'm selecting a row, columns, right? If I drag it down, I'm selecting these cells. Again, I'm holding down my mouse, right? If I release it, the selection is over. So when you click on somewhere else, that selection is gone. So click it and drag it, I'm selecting it. So when you type on dates, let's say 117, so it gives you January 17, right? What if I want a different format? Let's say 117 2022. So that still gives you a same format. So what happened is you already type in by default format 117 as a January, right? So if I do next column 2022, so if you first in a cell, if you type in the date like this, it will show up like that. But this one, it's already pre-selected, that's why. So if I come back here and say 117, it will keep the format as 117 2022. So how do I make this as this format? There is some multiple ways you can do it, right? In the home menu, enter custom, you can see the dates over here, right? You could say a short date. If I pick that, it will switch back to that. That's one way of doing it. Second way is I could just say, hey, I want the same format as this. So you could click on this one. There's a something called Clipboard, right? This is Clipboard, not Clipboard. This is a format painter. What it does is it takes this format and pastes it over here, so it will have the same format, whatever the format it is, right? Let's say I'm going to format this one, and I'm going to click on this cell, so I will have the same format. So let's say this is my title. I want to bold it, so under home there is a B here that will bold it. I want to center it. Let's say I want to center this to the column, so again under home there's a center here and there's a to center here, right? What is these two means? This center will center the column and this center will center the rows. Okay, let's say I'm centering the column. Okay, I'm going to increase this width of this row. See, right now based on this, it's aligned to the bottom. Let's say I want to center it to the middle. I could just click on here and it will center it to the middle, and this will center it to the top. And let's say I want to put some background colors. I could click on here. So there's two colors here, right? This will fill a background color. This will fill a text color. So I just clicked on here, that will fill the yellow. So whatever the last one that you used, you will see the color over here. Let's say I want to change to this orange kind of color, right? So last one you used, it's over here, right? That's what I used. So if I go somewhere else and I could just click on the same, I could just click on here instead of clicking here and picking the color again, because see, it's used the same last color. And this one is a font color. This one is a font color. So if I want to change the font color, I could just click here and pick a different font color. So one good thing is, as you move over the mouse, you can actually see the preview, right? See, you could actually see the preview. So that is good. So that way you don't have to select it and see it. Okay. So description, I'm just going to say I'm going to create something. Okay, what do I want to buy, right? So I want to say I'm creating a purchase list. So I'm creating a baseball. I bought 5 quantity. So I don't know, one of the price baseball is $3, right? So $3. So in here I put 5 and I put 3. Okay, how do I make it $3, right? So again, bat. I'm just going to say baseball bat. I'm going to say I need a 2 baseball bat. Okay, in here, even though this is price, it's just a 3, right? So I'm just going to say here dollar symbol, shift 4, and I'm going to say baseball bat is told I don't know how much is baseball bat. Let's make it up. Let's say one baseball bat is $20. So if I put a dollar symbol, it will keep the $20, right? Otherwise it will keep as a 3. So again, how do I change this to a dollar symbol? There's 2 ways. Again, so you could go here under general and you could pick currency, right? That will pick $3. Or you could again go here and you could create the format painter and go here, and that will change to $3. So what about if I want to change something here, right? How do I edit this? So if I start typing it, see, it just types it over it, right? If you want to edit this cell, there are 2 ways you could do it. Either double click it will give you edit in within the cell, and you could click on wherever you want to do it, and you could make an edit over there and click on somewhere else. That will get editing. Or if you do a F2, that's also edit mode. It will give you edit. There's other way you could do edit too. So the third way is, see, there is a bar over here. This is called formula bar. Okay, so if you click on here, only difference is if you click on here, you will see what to edit in here, but you won't see over here. So over here, when you do an edit, you could see within the cell. So over here, you will only see within the bar. So I'm just going to move over and say baseball bat, and I could just hit return, or I could just click on this enter, and that will be editing. So another thing is, like, let's say if you have a different multiple rows within the cell, right? In here, whatever you're typing it, right, it will be within the cell. So let's say I copied one description from Amazon, so I'm just going to add it here. So this is a big description, right? And when you enter it, as you can see, oh, this is too long. If I double click on this one, it will increase the column up to here, but I don't want that, right? Let's say I want to only up to here. Okay, how do I show everything? There's a few things you can do. So to show everything, what you want to do is you want to do a word wrap. So word wrap means I want to keep this cell width, but I want to wrap the text to the next line, right? So under the home itself, and if you look at this formatting section, and you could see over here A, B, and C. So this enter means it's a word wrap, it goes to the next line when the width of this reaches here. So in here, it's going to wrap it at aluminum, and so on and so forth. So let's click on that one and see. So there you go. When it word wraps it, you can see it's increase the width of this cell, right? You could decrease it too, but what happens is you won't see the whole thing, right? So let's put it back to the normal width. And what if I want to delete something, right? So let's say I want to delete, I could delete the some of the text. So by double clicking it, it will do an edit. I could click on and select all of these, and there's a multiple thing you could write. You could do a custom edit itself. As you can see, when you select it, it will give you a different thing. I could bold it, I could put a color, so on and so forth. Or you could do things over here too. You know, if you want to do a multi-edit, you could do there too, right? So let's say I want to change this. Okay, let's put a different color. Let's say a 24-inch. I want to make this into next line, right? I want to say faster 24-inch, and I want to go to the next line, but within the same cell. To do that, if you press Alt and Enter, that goes to the next line. So let's make it one more line. Okay, Alt Enter. Aluminum alloy. Okay, so let's keep that, and let's get rid of the rest. Let's say I'm gonna bold it, so put a different color so that way you can see. So this one, as you can see, it's actually, I put a space here, and I put an aluminum alloy at the header, right? So this is multiple, it's called multiple line. So there is a line break here. there's a line break there, and so on and so forth. So when you click on here, you can see things here, but over here you only can see the first line. You can do a expand these. What you can do is, there are two things when you edit it, right? As you can see, when you click on the first line, it shows over here. When you click on the second line, it's blank, so it shows over here. That line, you could see the alumni here. But there's another way you can do is also, there's in this formula bar, there is a down arrow. If you click on here, it will expand a little bit, right? So it will expand and show you. It will show you the 3 lines, but what if you have more lines, right? Okay, so let's say Alt Enter and something, and if you click over here, it will show you only 3 minimum, but there's a scroll bar here. You could actually scroll and see. Okay, that's how you add multiple things here. Okay, so let's do that for now. So baseball bat 24-inch, so I don't know, this one I'm buying 3 of them. This one is a little expensive, so I'm just gonna say $36. Okay, again, I could click on here and use the painter. I could just drag it down, click and drag it down, right? That means it will click and it will keep the format over here. So even if I put a dollar symbol here, if I put a number here, it will convert as a dollar symbol, because I say, okay, all of these cells I'm going to keep the same format. Okay, so how do you find the total? Total is 5 times 3, right? So I'm gonna reduce this so I get some more space. So any formula, any calculation that you do, you need to use a equal, right? So equal, when you do equal, and it's asking for, I cannot just type in text. When you type in text, it will give you error messages, because anything that is equal, it's supposed to be a formula or a function. So I say equal, what I want to do, I want to do this times this, right? So I just click on this one, C5, and press Shift 8. That is a time symbol, and D2. So C2 times D2, and once you're done, hit enter. As you can see, this one 5 times 3 is 15. So how do I do this for this, right? So if you have many, you don't want to do that one by one, right? So there are multiple ways you can do this. So you can do here, click on here, and there's a square box over here. When you click on here, there's a small square box here, bottom right side. When you move your mouse, it changes the mouse pointer, right? You could click on here and drag it down. So that way, what it did was it copied the same formula and copy it down. But when you say same formula, it says C2 and D2, right? Sorry. So when you copy this down, it copies the formula, but the cell reference will be what you are picking, right? So this is E3. So the cell its formula is correct, but cell reference is E, because you copy the formula down, right? So when you copy it down, the cell reference changed to C and D4, right? So this is 2, 3, and 4. So again, when you copy it down, it will do the same thing. So what is the other way of doing it? So you click on the first one and you select the next two, right? So you can, if you're using a keyboard, you could press Control D, Control D is like same as dragging it down. It's like a filling it. So it fills it. Okay. What if I want to add a row here, right? A column, actually a column. So I could click on here or click on anywhere you want. Let's say I want to add a column next to between A and B. I could just do a right click and insert. When I do a right click and insert, it insert a column, right? When you do a insert, it columns a column to the left. So I'm going to say ID, and I'm just going to create an ID. Okay, so let's say I want to do 1 2 3 4. Okay, that's date because it follows this format. So I'm just going to say 1 2 3 4, so on and so forth to the bottom, right? Okay, I don't want a date, right? I just want a 1. So if you click on here under home menu, this in here it says it's date, right? Click on here and just pick a general. When you pick on general, it will just get it as a date. Okay, so how do I, instead of 1 2 3 4 5 6 typing it all the way down, how do I copy it, right? So you could increment this by clicking on here and dragging it, right? When you drag it, what it does is, as you can see on the right side, it says, it just say 1, right? If you press control, wait, if you press control and drag it, as you can see, its numbers are increasing. It what that is it just increments the value. Okay, so that will just increment the value because it's just going to increment by 1 2 3 4 5 6, so on and so forth. Okay, that is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is, let's delete it. In here I could just put a formula, right? Equal to 1 previous cell plus 1, enter. Oh, again, this is date. Let's change that to general. So let's say I don't want a date here, so I want to make the whole thing as a general. So I click on the whole thing and just make sure I pick a general. Okay, so this one is 1 plus 1, previous cell plus 1. So I could click on here, come all the way down here and press Control D again. So when you look at it, it says previous cell plus 1, previous cell plus 1. So if I delete this, it says reference because previous cell is removed, right? So you probably don't want to do that. So what you could do is previous cells, because that cell is gone. So you could come here, oops, and say equal previous cell plus 1. So that will update the whole thing, right? So there's two advantages, actually one advantage of this, right? So in here, when you delete that column, so when you adjust the first error messages, it will automatically adjust all the rest, right? So it says 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So it just increment the correction, the incrementation, it corrected by itself. So what if you are doing the other way around? Let's say control, let's do a format. So these are actual numbers. If you delete row 6, so now you have 5 6 is missing, 7 8 9 10, so on and so forth. What if you want to add the 6 back, right? To add the 6 back, the way you can do is, again, you could just click on 5 and click on control, then again you have to fill it back again. So the other way around with the formula, you just adjust one formula and it will keep the rest. Okay, so I'm gonna make this as a center. Okay, so to select multiple rows, what you can do is you could click on here, that is selecting a row. If you click over here, like as you can see arrow down, that means it's selecting a column, right? To select a multiple column, you could click here and drag it, and that will select a multiple column. Multiple row, click here and drag it, that is multiple row, right? So what about if I want to put some borders, right? The border what you're seeing, it's only for just for your visual purpose. If I want to add some border here, when you print it to show it, I could select this, right? It's just again clicking on it and dragging it, and over within under home menu itself, there's a border here, right? If you click on this arrow, you could see all type of border, right? What this one is, all borders, right? That means it's going to create a border for each cells. So as soon as you see here like a bottom border, top border, so each cell, so a cell has a 4 sides, right? So left, right, top and bottom, that's what this is. So as you can see the bottom highlighted, if you pick that, that means it's going to create a border at the bottom. Okay, I could click on here, I say okay, I need a border at the left, and you will see a border at the left, right? So this one, the outline border, this is outline border but missing anything in between, right? So this one is all border. So if I pick that, it will create a all border. So let me show you the difference between outline and all borders. Over here I click on here and I say outline. Outline will put only the border outside. But if I pick the whole thing again and click on the border and say all borders, see the difference? It puts a border for each cell. So let's say I'm gonna create a border, let's say up to here, and all borders, right? So let's delete all of this. So to deleting all of this, multiple way you could do that, right? You could just click here and delete that, or you could delete the rows. So once you have this, right, so let's say I want to make it a little different over here. I could select this one and I could say, hey, I want a thicker border. So that my title section is a thicker border. So in here you have a date, you have an ID, description. So this is a purchase date and this is a total number. So this is pretty much pretty basic that you can start working on. And at the bottom you can see sheet 1. So what that means is you have a one sheet in this Excel workbook. So this whole file is called a workbook. The bottom is called a sheet. You can, in other words, you can say tab in a Explorer, or a tab in a Chrome or something like that when you do a browser, right? So you could consider this as a multiple tab. So let's say I want to add a new sheet. So it creates a new sheet. It's like a new tab in a browser, right? It's a fresh tab. So the previous one is already there and the new one is all over here. So you could switch between sheets and you could do the whole different thing over here, right? And if you want to rename the sheets, there are two ways you could do it. You could do right click and say rename, and you could say order detail, and over here you could just sheet 2, same thing. So the other way you can rename this is double click on this. This will, when you double click on this will get selected, and so say, I don't know, this item description, just for fun. Okay, and there is another thing you can do also is you could right click and you could change the color of this tab also. So if you change the color, so that tab color is different. So I could go here and say change the tab color to green. See, this one is green, this one is orange. So when you select it, right, how do you know which one is selected, right? So I'm just gonna create one more tab. So I have a order detail, sheet 3, item description. So I'm gonna change this tab color to, I don't know, blue. So the ones it's white, right, selected, that means that's the one you're selected. So this one, that's the one you're selected. So you also can't move around these tabs, right? So I want to order these tabs, I want to move this to over here. So what you can do is you can click on here and move it to the bottom. You see there's a small arrow here which is moving. You could just move that, so you could rearrange the tab you want. What about if you want to rearrange these columns, right? So I want to put this ID over here, and the first one, A. And so in order to do that, I could click on the column B. Oops, click column B. So if I click on column B, and let's say like when you move the mouse over, see the mouse pointer is changed. I could move like this. When you move like this, what happened is it says it's going to replace that column, right? So if you press the shift, it will change to one single line. If you remove the shift, it will change to the whole column. So whole column means it's going to replace the B column with the D column. It says, okay, there's already a data. Okay, let's cancel that for time being. Let's move it over here, right? What it's going to do is it's going to take the B column and move to H. See that? But if there is already a data, it's going to get replaced. So the B column is blank now. H is filled, right? So what if I don't want to do that? So if I move this over here, let's say move this, oops, move this over here, it's going to A get replaced, right? I don't want to do that. So that's why you press on shift. When you press a shift, see it's changed to 1. That means, hey, move that over to the first one. Okay, it just moves it over. So it's going to say take that and insert it into first one. That's what it does. So it will remove the blank also. Again, I could move this again from here, and I could say put it before F and press shift, and right now it's put it before F. So let's put it back again. So that's how you move the columns, right? I mean rows. Moving the column, it's the same thing. What if I want to insert a column, right? I could insert a column by clicking, rows. Insert a row by clicking on row and right click and insert. It will insert the row before it. What if I want to insert like 2-3 rows here? Okay, the way you can do is select the one, how many you want to insert it, right? So right now I'm selected 4 rows actually, 1 2 3 4. So if I do a right click and insert, it's going to insert 4 rows, right? So whatever the row that you are picking, it will insert. When you do an insert, it will insert that many rows for you. So other basic things is so once you're done, you want to save this, right? So let's go back to home. So if you go to file, when you go to file, it will show you a whole different way, right? So it will show you if you click on this arrow back, it will take you back to this previous mode. So if you go to file and you want to do a save, so if you do a save, and it will tell you where do you want to save it, browse, right? And browse, if you do a browse, and you could browse to a location where do you want to save it. I said just search browse to a location, and you just rename this book as order form. Let's say order form. So I'm gonna save it under desktop. I'm gonna save it under desktop and my folder. So I'm gonna save it here. So I'm just gonna say order form, and XLXX, you don't have to put that, but even if you don't, it comes with it, but even if you don't put it, it will add it for you right at the end. So even if you delete this and just say order form, when you save it, it will save it with the .xls. So right now this is saved. Right, so once you saved first time, so whenever you make a change, you could just press Ctrl S to save it. So this is pretty much just a basic, real basic of Excel. Thank you for watching.